Many newcomers and even advanced editors make many mistakes. These are 5 things you should stop doing in After Effects. Unorganized project. Project organization is not only visually appealing but also essential for efficient workflow. The larger the project, the more crucial it is to organize it well. This will save you a lot of time searching for specific items. Otherwise, you will end up wasting time either looking for things or organizing during work. To organize your project effectively, simply rename layers, composition, create folders for different parts of your project, and name them appropriately. Use too many something. Avoid overloading your project with excessive effects or details. If you cram too many images, GIFs, videos, animations, or effects, then clutter rather than enhance your project, you risk compromising the video quality. Most of the time, the smaller, the better. Minimalism in your videos can actually improve them. Don't be afraid to appear less professional because things seem too simple. When creating animations like a smiley face flying in, motion blur is essential for a polished look. Basic motion blur can greatly enhance your animations. Motion blur can also be applied to videos, but use it reasonably, as most cameras, if not all, already apply it to footage. Don't overuse it, but don't forget it exists. There are various types of blur. One is available in my list of plugins, which you'll find useful for editing. Link in the description. Don't use shortcuts. Shortcuts and hotkeys are meant to simplify and speed up your work in programs and browsers. After Effects has a dedicated section where you can view all the hotkeys available in the program. It's much easier to press a key to use a tool than to navigate with the mouse and select the tool manually. There are also key combinations. For example, Ctrl-Shift-C creates a composition, or select a layer and press Enter to rename it. I recommend learning and using these in your workflow. One of the most useful free plugins in Effects Console, instead of navigating through Effects and Presets panel with your mouse, you can bring up this panel with the Control Space shortcut while a layer is selected and apply effects instantly after searching. There are also paid plugins. One such plugin can replace 2, 3, and even 5 effects in one plugin. And now, a bonus mistake for beginners. Don't take advantage of buy my queries at great prices and learn faster what I've experienced myself. I've spent over 4,000 hours editing, so I know what I'm talking about. In the quiz, I'll cover basic and more advanced topics, demonstrating how to complete these 3 projects. The theoretical part will only take you 40 minutes. I'll provide homework for each lesson to reinforce your knowledge. I recommend purchasing to excel in this field in a short time. Like this video if it was helpful, subscribe to learn more, and leave comments with your advice for newcomers. Good luck! I have spent over 4,000 hours editing in After Effects, and here's what I've learned during that time. In After Effects, you simply have to spam Ctrl-S to stay at the last stage of your project. It's very challenging to imagine the program not crashing. After Effects is a software that demands a lot from your PC. The more RAM, cores, and processor speed you have, the better. But even the best PC in the world won't save you from crashes or lags in this program. It can only help by reducing freezing. Therefore, if your PC doesn't meet the minimum requirements for comfortable work in the program, you'd better think about switching to another program or getting a better PC. However, if you need graphics, then After Effects is the best option, and you'll have to tolerate all the inconveniences for the features that After Effects provides. I would like to point out that you shouldn't complicate your work unless it's necessary for some major project. If you're doing something for yourself, don't fuss over minor details. This advice applies to me as well. I struggle with this because I'm a perfectionist, and even insignificant details that don't require much effort to elevate to a high level of quality, I try to perfect. There's no such thing as perfect, but I always try to achieve that perfection. That's why it takes me over 100 hours for each video, because my goal is to show you the capabilities of the program and what you can do. I understand that I need to simplify things, and I advise you to the same, but it's better to strive for perfection if you can simplify things rather than doing them haphazardly. I agree that this program is complex, with many details and functions that need to be learned. I openly admit that After Effects is a complex program. I believe that solely for this reason it's not as popular as DaVinci or Premiere. As for CapCut, I won't discuss it because I already covered everything in this video. If you're a professional in your field, especially in video editing, no matter what program you use, you will still create beautiful work. But After Effects is different. Even if you manage to achieve something close to what can be done in After Effects, firstly, congratulations, and secondly, it will still look awkward. However, you can learn After Effects faster by following rules and guidance for mastering it. You can save a lot of time, and for this purpose, my After Effects course will be very timely for you, where I will give you all the necessary information to master the program in just 40 hours. That's how you can complete 3 projects after finishing the course. Each lesson will come with homework that you need to complete to reinforce the knowledge you've gained. Additionally, for the last lesson, I'll provide material for you to follow along with me and then create something of your own. So, if you wanna progress faster and save time, welcome. The link is in the description. The next and very important point, sort and name everything you do. Folders for each project. Subfolders for each group of files within the project folder. Separate everything based on specific criteria. For example, when I create a video, I make a folder with the video's title or theme. Inside it, I have a folder for ideas, where I save the AEP file with the video's thumbnail. I used to write scripts and titles, but now I do this in Notion. It's a very convenient program where I store information about the videos I'm currently working on. Right now, I'm writing the script here. If you're wondering what it's, you know where to find it. It's also important to rename things within the After Effects project itself. This is also a crucial point that I discussed in the previous video. Renaming objects so you know what you're dealing with. This will save you a lot of searching time. Professionals in their field are always learning something new. Therefore, the next piece of advice is to explore something new. This could be references on Pinterest or other artists' works on Instagram. There are also tutorials on specific scenes on YouTube where you can learn new effects and get ideas from these creators. Personally, I only watch content related to video editing on one account, so YouTube suggests creators who edit videos and show me tricks I haven't seen before. If you study new things not only in After Effects but beyond it, you can become indispensable at job or in your environment, and no neural network can replace you. Earlier, I mentioned simplifying your work. Presets will help you with this. If you are performing the same action repeatedly and need the same animation with the same settings, presets will speed up your workflow in setting up one or multiple effects. Personally, I use presets for shake, color correction, and text animation. For everything else, I animate manually based on the video segment. Sometimes I'm just too lazy to create a preset, so I struggle with constantly adjusting the animation. But this is my fad that I also need to correct. We are all imperfect, which is why I'm making this video. Before the final piece of advice, I would like to wish you good luck in your endeavors. If you really want something and are passionate about it, you will do it very well. And people will appreciate it as you, my viewers, appreciate my work. Thank you for that. Well, the last piece of advice is to watch this video about the 5 things you should stop doing. Thanks for watching, and we are not saying goodbye. After Effects is a complex program that requires a lot of time to learn and practice. If I were starting from scratch, I would use a specific plan to study the program. So, in this video, I'll tell you how to master After Effects in 30 days. When you first open the program, you'll see a lot of buttons that may be unfamiliar to you. Where do you click and what do you do? Let me explain. The collection of all these buttons and different areas is called the interface. Here you'll find tools, the workspace, timeline, windows, and so on. All of this will be useful to you in your work, so you'll need to learn it. You can rearrange these windows as you like, resize them. In general, you can make the interface as convenient as possible for yourself. This shouldn't take up much of your time. You can simply click on everything to understand what each item does. The next step will be learning about layers and how to work with them. In After Effects, there are many layers, each serving its own purpose. You can create layers by right-clicking in this area, then selecting New and choosing what you need. Another option is to click on Layer at the top, New, and choose from the available options here. Layers are divided into two types, those used in 2D space and those used only in 3D space. For example, layers like light and camera. One of the most used layers is the adjustment layer, which is used for applying and adjusting effects. It's also important to know how to render your finished video. I often see people who don't know how to render videos. Because of this mistake, video quality often suffers. Pixels start appearing and the video becomes low quality. This could be due to the resolution they are rendering in, or it could be a lack of bitrate in their video. Acceptable bitrate starts from 30,000 and above. Anything over 100,000 is already very good. Use this knowledge to avoid making major mistakes. There are many different codecs for rendering, but I use MP4, MO, or V. The higher the quality, the higher the file size. Don't forget about that. After Effects is renowned for its motion design capabilities. Therefore, learning animation is very important when working in this program. You can animate parameters of videos, images, in short, layers, such as position, scale, or opacity. By clicking on these clocks, you set a keyframe or key, which stores information about the values of the parameter at the point where you place the keyframe. If you move the cursor to another point and set a different value, you create an animation through the change in values over time. This is how you explain animation in simple terms. Now onto the most interesting part, plugins. Everyone loves plugins, without which all these edits, beautiful transitions, and effects that complement videos and make them better wouldn't exist. I have a video about plugins on my channel, you can watch it, but in brief. Plugins are divided into paid and free. Often, plugins have extensions. Those plugins that are originally built into After Effects have the CC extensions. Plugins can be risky because you can either improve your video using them or make it worse if you use them inappropriately. Learning to use them and definitely use plugins in your videos. And now for the recommendation that will give you the most profit. To get better at video editing in After Effects, you need to practice a lot. The more you do and learn about the program, the better you'll become. It sounds logical and very obvious, but many people don't do this. People buy courses or training and don't practice beyond what they've been given. People can buy and do nothing. They think everything will just work out on its own. But nah, only practice will help you. However, you should practice not just what you want, but what will really help you develop. For this, you need a clear plan of action that you will follow and progress with. And if you find my thoughts close to yours, I suggest my course, where there will be theory with practice and homework after each lesson. By completing them, you will gradually gain skills and progress. Also, after completing the course, you will create 3 such works, which I'll show you in the video lessons. But you will have more works if you don't stop like many do and continue practicing. I wish you success in your learning. Imagine that only 7 steps will help you make an interesting video in absolutely any program. Most likely your video material is a very strange person talking to the camera, and such people call themselves bloggers. So your task is to properly cut the video and audio track. So how to do that? There are 3 main rules that will help you with this. The first rule is to remove unnecessary thoughts and repetitive phrases. This way you'll clean your video of unnecessary information. The second rule is to remove pauses between phrases. Sometimes a person thinks, and if he doesn't think, sorry. While a person is thinking about what to say, pauses are overrated, they need to be cut to add dynamics to the video. If dynamics is not needed, you can leave a black screen. And yeah, I know there are bloggers who don't do anything at all, film everything as it is, leave pauses, and only cut the most boring parts. Don't tell me that. Wanna? Leave them, but you are not this blogger. The third rule is to remove riffs. They only spoil your video. Breathing like a horse in a video is not cool. So, after applying this information, your audio track should look something like this. There shouldn't be long pauses in your narrative. You can use J-cut and L-cut in your videos to diversify them. These are two good techniques in video that will definitely help you. The second important step is adding details. For example, adding a bolt. Adding graphic elements, photos, videos, GIFs, your dog, if it's appropriate, and so on. This is necessary to most clearly illustrate your point. For example, an explosion or a microphone. This way you give visual support to your words with these elements and make it easier for the viewer to understand the information. B-rolls are also suitable for this. These are stock videos in slow motion that are sometimes added instead of the speaker. An important rule for better use of these elements is to use them so that they only improve the narrative and do not confuse the viewer. Another tip is to apply these details using animations. Agree that instead of such an appearance of the image, it's better to use something like this. This doesn't improve the understanding of your material, but it makes the visual part of your video much more pleasant. It's important to animate not only the appearance but also the disappearance from the frame. This gives some logic to the viewer as to how the image disappeared from the screen. Otherwise, they might go crazy because they didn't understand where the picture went. You can use simple animations that I use in my videos. You can also use those that are built into your video editing program. The choice is yours. Obviously, you need to know more for quality editing than just cutting videos and adding elements. You need to know more and study this information deeper. That's exactly why I made the quiz. With the information from my quiz on just one program, you can turn the most boring material into a video that the viewer can take their eyes off. I also detailed the creation of my videos. If you are interested in video editing, welcome. The link is in the description. The next step where many people make mistakes is transitions. The simpler your transitions are, the more pleasant it will be to watch your video. You don't need to bother and choose different transitions. Choose one or two transitions for yourself and use them in your videos. Also, don't make transitions too long. If your video is 30 frames per second, your transition shouldn't last 30 frames. 10 frames will be enough. If your video is 60 frames, make the transition 20 frames. That will be enough. And by the way, using transitions between all clips is just a fool. Their task is to separate one thought from another, not to make a video consisting of transitions. Fourth, don't use strange transitions. There are many transitions offered by different programs for free or by subscription. Well, why not for a jar of pickles? It doesn't matter. This variety, I suppose, is added to increase the value of the program, not to help you. And the strangest thing is not that these transitions exist, but that these transitions are used by creators. That's exactly why I'm making this video. If everything is not so difficult with transitions, then video editors have problems with music. Not all music will suit your video. The genre you choose for your video should match the mood of your video. Lately, I use epic or cinematic music. Is this dance music followed by relaxation in the form of an instrumental. I like it and viewers like it. I recommend you find your genre that you will like. I do not recommend using something unusual. Personally, if I don't like the music, I may close the video, so be careful when choosing music. Regarding copyright, I don't know what's wrong with using remixes that YouTube is more lenient towards, or music that has only an instrumental. If you don't use music by popular artists, you will be fine. A good site with many filters is Epidemic Sound. If you need free music, there's Pixabay. By the way, these sites contain not only music. After the music, you need to add sounds for atmosphere. You shouldn't have any problem with this. If you need a specific sound, just type the name of that sound in Google and add download for free. You can find various sounds on Pixabay. You can find them on Epidemic Sound. You can also find them on YouTube, for example, memes. After downloading, you need to adjust the sound. The only rule you need to know at the beginner level is to make the sounds quieter than the person speaking. That's it. In general, I have a huge bag of music that I use in my videos and more than 350 sound effects for your videos. I've collected the best for you. The link is in the description. my favorite topic is color correction. It's very individual for each video and video maker. Some people like warmer tones, others like cooler ones. Can you imagine some people even draining tomato juice? There is one plugin that I recommend you use. It's available in After Effects and Premiere Pro. It's Lumetri Color. If you are editing in DaVinci Resolve, it will make this process more convenient for you than for others. If you have another program, find something similar. You can choose a specific look or you can adjust it yourself. The best way to find what you like is to find what you like. Just play with the sliders, list something as default settings, do it in a way that you like and others don't mind watching. Everything will be fine. The final point in creating a video is subtitles. I create them in Premiere Pro. I covered this in detail in my quiz. There are many videos on this topic on YouTube. You can do it in CapCut, but all these animations are so annoying that it's better not to use animations at all. I make a simple and smooth animation, add a glow, and it's ready. You don't need to use subtitles throughout the video if you have dynamics in the video like I do. If nothing is happening and your video is static, it's better to add subtitles to the whole video. This way retention will increase and it will be clearer what you are talking about. Video editing is a creative process with certain rules for better results and quality. You can do everything differently than I said, it's your right. To everyone else, I wish good luck in this matter. Don't forget my offer for faster results. You asked me, I'm doing it. How to make smooth camera movements in After Effects without using the camera at all. First, you need to have a project, of course. Out of all your layers, you need to make a single composition. And when you've created it, click on this little square to make the composition a 3D layer. Now open the layer parameters, transform and check the clocks next to position, scale and orientation. Select the layer and press the letter U so that they only have the parameters you will be changing. Select all the keyframes and press F9 to make the animation smooth. Now you just need to make the animation. For example, I start with zoom out. Therefore, I will set scale to 150, leave position the same, and change orientation to make a slight tilt to the side. The first value is responsible for tilting forward and backward. The second value turns left and right. The last value is used as rotation. After making a slight adjustment to these keys, I step forward enough frames for my animation to change. And if the animation is too long, I step forward 30 frames, reset all values to default, and set a keyframe on position to adjust it evenly with all the keyframes. Then you can slightly zoom into the center and also add the remaining keyframes. Now I can move on to setting up the animation. Select one key from each parameter and click on the graph editor icon. Sliders will appear on the right, which you need to pull to the left. This results in a fast movement at the beginning that slows down towards the end. You can also adjust the beginning of the curve and make the movement acceleration even earlier. That's how I do it with subsequent keys. I get approximately this kind of curve on all the keyframes. If you wanna learn After Effects faster or edit videos well, then these videos are for you. Without this plugin, you literally can edit your videos, and here's why. This plugin has absolutely everything you need for editing. I'm serious. Any VFX, transitions, lighting, VHS, explosions, newspaper footage, glitch effects, voiceover AI, SFX, and I'm just getting started. VFX for After Effects, Premiere Pro, Sony Vegas, DaVinci Resolve, and several other programs. In addition to paid products, there is also a huge amount of free content. The plugin is called AEJuice, and to install it, click on download and choose your system. After installation, you will have an archive with the exe file of this plugin. You just need to go into After Effects and select AEJuice Pack Manager 4 in the window tab. Now I will show you how to work with it. To download the products available to you, you need to log into your account here. Then you can write in the search bar the effect you want to use. I have absolutely all the products, so I can write, for example, fire, then I need to download it and I can use it. I can find CRT, lightning, text animation, transitions, and even human anatomy. There are also small icons here where you can watch tutorials, move the anchor point, and several other settings for these effects. Additionally, I can select, for example, the YouTube pack and drag any template to the timeline. It will be a composition in which you can change the color, position, add glow, and customize it however you want. If you want to make your videos more vibrant with different effects and assets, I highly recommend this plugin. And if you want to learn After Effects or video editing, then watch these videos and buy my products. Right now, I'm gonna tell you about the 10 best effects for After Effects. These effects will make your videos look better and more interesting. The first effect creates a camera effect. It slightly distorts the video at the edges. You can achieve this effect in this way or that way. This effect is free and is called optics compensation. Depending on how you adjust this effect, the video distortion will vary. The second effect will give you an interesting text highlight. For example, to highlight this word, create a shape, set the blending mode to overlay, and add the roughen edges to the shape layer. A little adjustment and the effect is ready. The third effect I use in every video. Many complicate the way to replicate it, but it's very simple. I'm talking about my background. For this, you need the grid effect. By slightly changing the parameters, I get this grid. With the fourth effect, you can make the video more cartoonish. You will need to slightly adjust the cartoon effect to achieve the desired result. For example, I got this result. The fifth effect I need in every video, in my opinion, is the best way to create color grading. For this, I need the lumetri color effect, with which I can adjust literally everything. To better understand how it works, watch my video about color grading. The next effect that I use in every video, it adds more beauty to any object. With glow, you can create this effect on text that I do in every video. To slightly diversify your video, you can add the seventh effect for a beautiful transition. This can be used not only for transitions, as it's the glitch effect. To find this effect, you need the AEJuice plugin. I explained this plugin in detail in the video about the best plugin. After installation, find another glitch 08. With the next effect, you can create a money animation in one click. Just add the format numbers 02 from the AEJuice plugin. You can adjust it however you like by going into the composition and changing the spacing or the number. Now I'll show you a beautiful text animation where the plugin does everything for you. You need to create text and preset the color, size, and so on. Select this text and add the shape 01 from the text animation pack. You can also change the appearance speed for a better effect at glow. And the last effect is an effect that many people like and many try to replicate. But in my case, I just need to drop Pixel CRT effect 01. The effect is ready in just one click. If you wanna learn After Effects or video editing, then watch these videos and buy my products. I always strive to edit my videos as well as I can, creating content that not only I enjoy but also resonates with my viewers. That's why in this video I'm gonna show you these 3 effects from my videos you can use in your own videos. Stick around until the end to get ahead of the competition. To create the text effect, I use After Effects and its built-in plugins. First, I create a 1.5 second composition. You might be working on your own project, so the length of your composition doesn't matter. A bit of magic and my background appears. I'll explain how you can create a similar background later. Next, you need to create and customize your text. You can design it however you like, but I'll show you how I style my text. I create the text, center it in the composition, adjust the anchor point, and set the text size to 250 pixels, with the color code of C5, 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 making all letters uppercase. Then add the glow effect with a threshold of 80 and radius of 50. This already looks much better. Additionally, I add a drop shadow effect, setting the distance to 12 and softness to 5, placing it above the glow effect. If the text is smaller, reduce these parameters. If it's larger, increase them. Now you need to split the text. I split it into 3 parts to create 3 separate words, but you can adjust this based on your needs. Now let's move on to the next complex part, animation. To create a smooth transition between 2 words, extend the previous text by 2 frames. The next word should be larger or smaller than the previous one, either in size or length. Open the scale parameters by pressing S, unlink the scale so you can adjust the 2 parameters separately, and set keyframes by frames before the end. To see the result of the last keyframe, place it 1 frame before at the end and adjust the scale to match the size of the next text. Then move this keyframe to the end. Select the keyframes, press F9, select just one, go to the graph editor and create a curve like this. If your text changes in 2 dimensions, link the scale parameters before adjusting the curve. Now add the Gaussian blur effect and adjust it similarly. Place the keyframes where you placed them before. Set the first keyframe to 0 and the last to 50. Also uncheck the box I mentioned. Press U to see only the effects with keyframes and create the same animation as I did for the scale parameter. Now it's time to adjust the second text. Follow the same steps with the scale parameter. Unlink the two settings, set a keyframe on the first frame, adjust the scale so that the second text matches the size of the first text at that frame. Move forward 7 frames and reset the scale to 100. Select both keyframes, press F9, select one, go to the graph editor, and create the same animation I showed earlier. Then add Gaussian blur, uncheck the box, set the first keyframe to 20, and the next one 7 frames later to 0. Repeat the same animation you did for scale. Repeat these steps for all words. To create a flash effect, I add an adjustment layer above all layers and apply the brightness and contrast effects. Set keyframes for these effects 5 frames before the two texts appear. 5 frames later, set the brightness to 50 and contrast to 15. After 10 more frames, reset everything to 0. Select the keyframes, press F9, select one from each effect. Go to the graph editor and create similar animations. Copy this animation and paste it for the next transition. To make the transition smoother, just add motion blur to each layer. Now I'll show you how you can create my background and make videos in my style, and more. It's finally here. Now anyone who wants to edit videos in After Effects in Premiere Pro in my style can do it. I'll also give you tips on how to create your own style. All of this is available in my educational program, Edit in the Render Queue style. It's packed with useful information, of course, without any fluff. I'll tell you how I started and how I developed my style. I'll walk you through my entire process, from beginning to end. You can see how my training is structured in the demo version on my website, link in the description. But that's not all. I'll also have an updated high-quality educational program for After Effects, where I cover all the basic aspects of the software so you can easily create whatever you have in mind. By purchasing these trainings, you'll gain access to a private group where you can connect with like-minded people. If you get the Edit in the Render Queue style program, you can ask me any question personally on Telegram or just chat with me, and you'll get the chance to become my editor. Soon I also offer training on video editing. If the answers I provide in After Effects or video editing aren't enough, I offer one-on-one training where I'll spend a month with you, answering your question and talking with you. However, first I'll give you all the materials to build a foundation, and then we'll continue working together. Only one person per month can train with me individually, so if you're interested, fill out the form. If I approve you, you'll be able to pay. Thank you for your attention. Let's continue. The second effect is great for explaining a path from point A to point B. This effect will take some effort to create. Start by creating a small rectangle in the same color as the text. Center both the anchor point and the shape itself. Then add glow and adjust it to get the desired look. I recommend focusing on the result rather than the glow settings. Next, animate the shape to make it grow vertically. Open the scale parameter. Hopefully you remember how to do this. Unlink the settings and adjust the right side value. Set the first keyframe to 0, and 15 frames later, set it to 100. Create the same animation as I did. At the 15th frame, duplicate the layer and trim it on the left to that point. Select both layers, set keyframes in position and move them apart horizontally over 15 frames. Create the same smooth animation as before. Now add a line using the shape tool. I'll make a thread, add glow with these settings to reduce the brightness, and place the line below the two layers. At the moment when the rectangles separate, trim the line layer and animate it horizontally scale. I'm repeating the same steps I described earlier. Now the animation are synced. To add small separations on the line, copy the left rectangle, trim it to the start, moving at the moment, and animate it to the right over 15 frames. Create the same animation in the graph editor. When the animation is done, duplicate the third rectangle, trim it, move it further to the right, and create a smooth animation. Now add text and set its effect as I described in the first block of the video, but remember the text is smaller. Then add foggy effect. Open the text and foggy animation settings. Change the left side values in scale and blur to 50. Set the offset to -100 at the first frame, and 30 frames later, set it to 100. Create the same sharp animation as I did. Add Gaussian blur to the text, uncheck the box, set the value to 20 at the beginning, and 30 frames later, set it to 0. Repeat the animation as before. To add text at the end of this line, duplicate it, change the text and move it to the right while holding Shift. Then add motion blur to make the animation smoother. You can change when the text appears, its duration, color, and so on, but I've shown you how I do it. The last and easiest effect today is highlight area. For this, you'll need a video where you wanna draw attention to a specific element. Duplicate the video and create a mask on the top video over the object you want the viewer to focus on. Increase the feather slightly, then add the hue saturation and brightness and contrast effects to the bottom layer, the saturation to 0 and brightness to -50. On the top video, add glow. I'll adjust it so that only the tools glow and reduce the intensity. To create a smooth appearance, animate each parameter from the default to values I mentioned over 30 frames. Select all keys and press F9. That's it at the beginning. Set saturation to 100, brightness to 0 and opacity of the top layer to 0. After 30 frames, adjust the values. I'll also add this 3D effect. How I do it is explained in the video linked above. Like or dislike the video and subscribe if you enjoyed my videos and want more content on After Effects and video editing. Write a comment if you liked the video. Don't forget to check out my useful products. I'm confident that you don't know how to properly use the 3D camera and are making a ton of mistakes with it. Watch until the end and you'll get a bonus for free. Let me explain what I mean. You should only use the 3D camera when it's really necessary. Understand? If you just need a small 3D effect and you use the 3D camera, you are making a big mistake because you're complicating the process for yourself. Why do that? You can achieve the same effect without using the 3D camera. The 3D camera is only needed when you want to create a strong effect. Let me explain further. For example, turning the camera 180 degrees, adding depth of field, creating a unique path in 3D space. These are complex things that you can easily replicate with simpler method. Oh, and I forgot to explain the easy method. I'm not sure if anyone else does it the way I do, and I'm not claiming that I'm the only one using this method. I don't want to come off as full of myself. I'll just say this. I came up with this method, and until now, I was the only one who knew about it. Anyway, if you wanna make your work easier, check out my video on what to do and how to do it after you finish watching this one. So, the 3D camera. First, it's a layer, and it's pink. Second, or rather third, there are so many different settings here. I don't know much about filming or cameras, but I'll share the basics of the 3D camera with you. So, open Camera Options. Here you'll find Zoom. This parameter lets you zoom in or out, and that's all. Just kidding. Depth of field is a setting that makes your video look nice. For instance, if you have an object and a background behind it, this setting will blur the background. I'll show you later and you'll understand everything. Focus distance adjusts the blur. The smaller the value, the more it blurs objects that are far away and makes closer objects clearer. Aperture controls how much the background is blurred. Blur level. Honestly, I don't know what it does. If anyone knows, let me know in the comments. Iris is the shape that the blur will take. Don't pay attention for transform now. You can adjust everything separately in the workspace. Look, on the right side there's active camera. If you click on it, there are many options for viewing from different angles, but choose custom view 1. Now hold down Alt, left click and drag the mouse left, right, up and down. You don't need to select anything else. If you hold Alt and press the mouse wheel, you can move in 3D space. To increase or decrease the 3D composition, click on this icon, hold LMB and move right or left. When you click on the camera, you'll see Access. You can move and rotate the camera using the arrows and circles. After you've adjusted the camera, you can select Active Camera again to see the result. Sure, you can use transform, but to understand how the camera moves, it's useful to view it from a different angle, especially if there are many objects in the 3D space. You know what would definitely be useful for you? I'll tell you, my products. With my After Effects educational program, you can learn all the basics from scratch in After Effects in the shortest time possible. In just a few weeks, you'll be creating animations like this without any question about how to do it. You can see how everything is structured in my demo version. If you want to create in the same style as me, then Edit in the Render Queue style is for you. I'll tell you where I started, how I developed my style, and how you can create your unique style. I'll also cover all the stages of creating my videos. There is also a demo version of my style. If that's not enough for you, I offer one-on-one training for 30 days. I only take one person per month. If you are interested, fill out the form, and if I approve, you'll be able to pay. Thanks for your attention. It's time to create something interesting. First, I would create my own background. That's better. It's obvious I made this. You can choose whatever you want, like a gray solid. That works too. But I'd recommend using some texture. Now, select Custom View 1, and from this angle, duplicate and arrange the background on all sides, placing the camera in the center. Don't forget to adjust the camera settings for a good setup. Add for text. Three in the front and one in the back. To adjust the text, I add glow and adjust it a little and the color of the text. Make them 3D objects by clicking on these little boxes and place them around the space at different distances and angles. It's important that all the layers are under the 3D camera, so that the blur applies to all the layers. Now it's time to adjust the camera. I'll start by adjusting the trajectory and changing the text size if it's so big or small. To animate, click the stopwatch next to position, X, Y, and Z rotation. After adding all the keyframes, it's time to animate. I keep it simple. I select one keyframe from each parameter, go to the graph editor, click this icon, and create a graph like this on each segment of the animation. If your parameters don't have the same graph, the animation will look bad, so make sure to align all the graphs equally. Once you are done with the animation, you can adjust the depth of field. First, turn it on and set aperture to 200 and adjust focus distance so that the text is sharp. Add a keyframe next to focus distance to animate it. You'll need to change this value for each word. Once that's done, which isn't as hard as setting the camera position, create the same graphs as before. Add motion blur to all the layers by clicking on these little boxes. The final step is to add effects over all the layers. I'll do everything in one composition and enable motion blur on it too. Create an adjustment layer and add BCC Fast Lens Blur. If you don't have it, use Gaussian blur. Make the first frame blurry and by the end of the first animation, set the parameter to 0. Repeat the curve adjustment in the graph editor. On the last animation, set the parameter to 0 on the second to last keyframe and make it blurry at the very end. Then repeat the animation. Lastly, add color grading. You can see how I do color grading in the video linked above. And now, a bonus for those who stayed until the end. I'm hosting a contest for my After Effects program. To enter, leave a comment below this video. I'll announce the contest results on my Instagram, so make sure to follow me. Thanks for watching, like the video if you enjoyed it, or dislike it if you didn't. Subscribe for more useful content and let me know in the comments what you want to see in the next video. While I'm working on the new video, check out these ones. I've selected the most interesting 2D animations from AEJuice recent videos and recreated them exactly as he did, but without using any paid plugins. Let's begin the first animation.
Ladies and gentlemen, I always see comments under my videos like, how do you invest your money? But that's not really a good question. And here's why. At this point, I'm investing millions and millions of dollars, but 90% of you aren't there yet.
To start, create a composition in 4K resolution, 24 FPS and 13.18 seconds long. All the materials for the animations will be available via the link in the description. Import a YouTube clip of Iman and create a background for the animation. To do this, create a solid layer and, using the eyedropper tool, click on the background. Alternatively, you can simply enter 0F, 0F, 0F in the color field. Now the background covers the video, so you need to move it below, like this. Next, duplicate the video fragment and mask the first so only the video is visible, and mask the second so only the title and description are visible. Select these two layers one by one and press Ctrl-Alt-Home to center the anchor point. Now select both videos again, hold Shift, scale them down and move them slightly higher. To align them in the center, in the Align tab, click this icon. But make sure composition is selected here. I'll also add Sharpen and set it to 70 to slightly improve the video quality. You probably didn't notice, but a glow effect was added to the video, so I'll do the same and change the settings, threshold to 70, radius to 100 and intensity to 0.3. I'll copy this effect Ctrl-C and paste it Ctrl-V onto the layer with the description. And of course, to create this blur effect, you need to add the mosaic effect with values of 200. To animate these elements at the 2-second mark, set keyframes for the position on each layer. At the beginning, change the position slightly by moving the elements away from each other. Now select the keyframes, press F9 and replicate this curve in the graph editor. Next, we need to create a comment from different parts. A picture, channel name, how many hours ago the comment was written, likes, dislikes, reply, and the comment itself with the text typing animation. Skip ahead to 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Add the comments, position them a bit lower than the description, and trim the start. Use a mask to crop the first comment and add mosaic with values of 100 and 150. Now it's time to assemble the comment. Start with the picture. I'll add my logo, trim the start, and create a round mask for it. Next, add the channel name using add symbol. Select Arial Bold as the font, set the color to EF, 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 and the size to 20 pixels. Copy the text layer, move it slightly to the right, set the font to regular, change the size to 18 pixels, and set the color to C9, C9, C9. The next step is to add the like, dislike, and reply buttons. I'll add them just like the original. For the reply, I'll copy the text with that symbol, move it to the right of the dislike button, set the size to 20 pixels, and adjust the letter spacing to -30. For the like count, I'll copy the reply text, set the font to regular, and move it next to the likes. Add the comment, change the font to regular. The comment is almost ready, but first I'll group the elements that move together using the spiral. Additionally, add mosaic to the logo with the values of 15, to my name with the value of 400, and to the comment time with the value of 600. After this, animate the comment elements and other comments below. To avoid animating each element individually, I have linked multiple elements together. From the start of the element, skip 2 seconds and set keyframes for the position of the elements you wanna animate. For me, this is the logo, channel name, and the like button. Select the keyframes and press F9. At the beginning, change the element positions and create a graph like mine for the animation. But on each element, you'll animate the opacity from 10 to 100 at the same points where the position keyframes are. Leave the dislike button off for now. From the start of these elements, skip 1 second and animate the comment. To do this, apply the typewriter effect to the text layer. Press U and, after 20 frames, move the last keyframe forward. Just like with my comment, animate the rest of the comments the same way I showed earlier, just animate it from bottom to top. Now add the darkening effect to the elements above and below my comment. To do this, add an adjustment layer, then apply levels to it. Trim the beginning, set the keyframe, and by the end of the animation, darken it using this slider. Select the keyframes and press F9. Besides levels, add Gaussian blur and do the same thing. From a value of 0 over 2 seconds, set it to 10. Now let's animate the cursor. Add it and rotate it slightly to the left. Scale it down and add glow with settings 100, 350 and 0.3. From the point where all the elements are animated, skip 3 seconds and set a keyframe for the position. At the start, move the position to the left and create a curve like this. To add motion blur, check this box on the cursor layer. Select the layer, press S and set a keyframe. Skip 3 frames, scale it down, and after 4 frames, return the scale to its original value. It's time to animate the dislike button. Trim to the first keyframe and turn it back on. Press T to bring up the opacity setting. Set the value to 0 and add a keyframe. After 2 frames, add another keyframe and 5 frames later, set the value to 100. While the dislike button is appearing, make the previous dislike button disappear. At the 6.10 mark, trim all the layers except the background, and create the composition from the video plus description, all the elements of my comment, and the other comments below. From this point, you need to remove all the elements within 2 seconds by animating the position and opacity, except for the cursor. The cursor should be placed in the center and scale it up slightly so that you can adjust its animation later. Reset levels to their default settings and trim the end. If you've been wanting to master After Effects and level up your skills to a confident level, I offer you a perfect opportunity. My training program After Effects from scratch is designed for those who don't just want to learn, but want to achieve real results. We'll cover all the important aspects, from basic animation to complex effects, and bonus materials will help you become a true master. And if you are aiming to create videos like I do, then Edit Like Render Q is the course you need. You'll learn every stage of video production, from concept development to final rendering. You'll see how simple ideas turn into masterpieces, and you'll be able to replicate this process yourself. For those seeking fast and tangible results, I also offer exclusive one-on-one coaching. Within 30 days, I'll personally guide you through the entire video creation process. You'll receive feedback, tips, and tools that will help you make maximum progress in the shortest time. This coaching is available to just one person per month. This personalized approach guarantees full attention to your tasks and goals. If you are ready to progress, act now. Fill out the form, wait for approval, and then you can proceed with payment. Remember, there is only one spot, and it could be yours. The link is in the description. To make the next animation easy, you'll need the starter pack by AEJuice, which I have a separate video about. However, in this case, it won't work because we need a number greater than 1 million. At the 7.10 timestamp, add text, trim it from the left. Type just 0, align the anchor point and the text, increase the text size to 400 pixels, leave the color as EF, and set the font to bold. Then you need to add the angle control effect to the text. Open the text settings, hold Alt, click the stopwatch, link the text to the effect using the spiral, and paste the expression from the description into the field. After that, you'll animate the effect using the effect parameters. Set a keyframe and change the value to 2777 and 280, and you'll get a million. At the end, you need to increase this value to 20 million. It's time to animate the opacity. Start with 0 and after 4 frames, set it to 100. But at the very end, you need to set the opacity to 40. Besides the text, you also need to add videos. But I don't have the videos, so I'll add some images and animate them. After the animation, I'll add the text from the 11.10 timestamp. Trim it from the left. Make it red with the code FF for C. Align the anchor point and the text to the center, set the size to 350 pixels, and move it slightly higher. Then I'll add glow with settings 40, 150, and 1, and repeat the animation with angle control, but I'll insert different text, which is also in the description. The next step is to add and animate an emoji, make it appear and move from the left. Next to this character, you'll need to add text and animate it. For this text, I'll choose the Carbon regular font. The animation uses a slightly different font, but I choose a similar one. Color F5, F5, F5. Size 100. Add the blinking cursor effect to the text. To make this semicircle, create a circle to the correct size. Remove the fill and set the stroke to match. Then create a composition from the circle, add a mask to this composition, and increase the feather to 100. Go into the composition, add a gradient ramp, and instead of black and white, make it green and red. Adjust it as I did. Now exit the composition and add glow with the settings 7, 200, 0.5. To animate, go back into the composition, into the shape parameters, and click this icon to add trim path. Now you just need to adjust the effect, offset to -96. Set the keyframe at the start, and at the end, set start to 53. Select the keyframes and press F9. For smoother motion, add motion blur. To reveal the percentage, add Gaussian blur and check the box. Start at 1000 and after 5 frames set it to 0. Almost done. Now you need to create the overall animation. For this animation, I'll use my method, which I'll show you now. Enable 3D, go into transform settings and activate the stopwatches next to position, scale, and orientation. Press F9. Now it's time to animate, so just repeat after me. All that's left for me is to create a small cursor animation moving from right to left. Simply adjust the position. The final steps are to enhance the animation slightly. I'll create an adjustment layer and add Gaussian blur with the value of 15. After that, create a mask. Select the layer, then shape, select the oval and double-click it. Click invert, then double-click the mask, make it a bit smaller, and increase the feather to 150. Add another adjustment layer, apply posterior style with the value of 12. The last thing I'll do is add a bit of noise and vignette.
Ladies and gentlemen, I always see comments under my videos like, how do you invest your money? But that's not really a good question. And here's why. At this point, I'm investing millions and millions of dollars, but 90% of you aren't there yet.
So let's get into the second animation.
If you had invested $1,000 into the S&P 500 5 years ago, and by the way, the S&P 500 has done incredibly well over the last 5 years. But anyways, if you invested $1,000 5 years ago, you would have approximately $1,700 now. Now here's the thing.
For this animation, you'll need a composition like I have, 24 FPS and a duration of 12.12 seconds. Create the same background with the color code 0F, 0F, 0F. Next, create two text layers. The first one should be use the Builder Sans semi-bold font with color EF, EF, EF and size 250 pixels, and the second should be exactly the same but with the medium font and size 125 pixels. To To create the 3 dots, draw a small circle, color it the same as the text, and in the layer settings, apply the repeater effect, with position set to 0 and 36. Then, double-click on Shape to create a rectangle. In the Shape settings, set scale to 1100, 210, and change roundness to 100. Color this rectangle with the code 5FA470. Add glow with settings 40, 70, 0.1. To create the text, simply add a 0 with the Builder Sans regular font, black color, and size 110 pixels. To make the number look the same, apply the same steps with angle control and enter the following text with the percentage at the end. For the second green button, copy the first one and change the scale to 535 and 200. Use the same text but without effects, with the Arial regular font and text width of 90. The third button is similar to the second button, but with a different fill and border. So, duplicate it, remove the glow, change the color to 23, 23, 23, and add a white border with a thickness of 7. Then duplicate this button, removing the border from the bottom layer and the fill from the top layer via Layer Settings. On the layer with the border, add a gradient ramp effect and change black and white to colors with codes ACFFDD and 006EEE. Now add glow with settings 80, 50, 0.2. To replicate the white text with a $sign, create a text layer. Type 0, set the color to white, and choose Arial regular font with text width and height of 90. Animate it in the same way with angle control, in the first expression as in the first animation. At the 11-second mark, set it to these parameters. For this part of the animation, add the cursor, animate it, and apply motion blur. I hope you remember how I did this in the first animation. If not, follow my example. For this cursor, I'll skip the glow effect. The next step is to add a graph. For color compatibility, set the blend mode to screen and use curves to make it slightly darker. Duplicate the layer. Just like in the first animation, animate it, but this time animate it from the left and right. Also set the opacity to 0 at the beginning, increasing to 100 after 2 seconds. From the third second, animate the cursor to hover over the center of the graph, making a smooth animation. At the end, move the cursor to the third button and repeat the animation. Finally, repeat the animation. Instead of explaining, I'll just show you, and you can follow along. and add a few effects from the first animation. Posterize time to 12, Gaussian blur with a mask, vignette and a bit of noise.
If you had invested $1,000 into the S&P 500 5 years ago, and by the way, the S&P 500 has done incredibly well over the last 5 years. But anyways, if you invested $1,000 5 years ago, you would have approximately $1,700 now. Now, here's the thing.
Thank you for your watching until the end. Let me know if you liked the video and comment on what else you would like to see on this channel. And of course, subscribe so you don't miss any useful videos. Don't forget about my offers and good luck with your animations. I chose one of the most beautiful animation from the Vox channel, and I'll show you how you can recreate it exactly as he did.
The Food and Drug Administration, which is the agency that, back in the year 2000, approved an abortion pill, mifepristone. And in the 24 years since its introduction, medication has become the way that most abortions happen in the US.
Before we start creating the animation, we need to set up a composition in Full HD, 24 FPS and a duration of 14.14 seconds. Also, you can find the materials for the animation in the description. I'll start with the background. To create the background, you need to create a solid with the color F9, F7, EE. The next layer will be the FDA symbol. I'll scale it down a bit, around 33%. For texture on top of all layers, I'll add 3 different textures. The first one is thick paper texture. On this texture, you need to add 2 effects, invert and curves. Now, thanks to invert, I can set the blending mode to screen, and the black color will disappear. Using curves, I'll make this texture a bit less noticeable. Next, we need to adjust the paper texture black. To adjust this texture, I only need the curves effect and to change the blending mode to screen. Just like with the first texture, I'll make it less visible. The last texture will add some scratch to the animation. Do the same steps as with the previous textures. Now it's time to animate the logo a bit. To do that, select the layer, open the scale parameter with S, and hold Shift while pressing P to open the position parameter. Place keyframes for these parameters, select them and press F9. At the 2.06 timing, place 2 keyframes and change the scale to 34. Go to the graph editor and adjust the curve like I did. At the 3-second mark, place another set of keyframes and change the position to 610. Next, we'll create text. The text settings are Inter Semi-Bold font, color 35, 35, 35, and size 160 pixels. And of course, the text needs to go under all the textures, so that they are visible on it too. Now place the text approximately here in the composition. At the 2.20, trim the text from the left and add a few more years by pressing Enter. We have created a list of dates that will animate. To animate, select the layer, press P to open the position parameter, and set a keyframe at the start. At the 4.15 timing, change the vertical position so that 2000 is in the same spot as 2024. For this animation, copy the curve in the graph editor, like I did. Now we need to place this into a composition. Select the text layer and press Ctrl+Shift+C. Choose the shape tool and create a mask like this. Now create a line while holding Shift just below 2024. Place it under the logo. Change the color to 35, 35, 35 and set the thickness of 3 pixels. To make a dashed line and animate it, go to the shape Stroke. Next to dashes, press plus. To animate the line, click this icon and select Trim Path. Turn on the stopwatch, set end to 0 and 1 second later, set it to 100. Create a circle and change its color to EC E61B. Trim it from the left at 4.05 and align it like I did. For a small shadow, create a small oval a bit below the center of the circle. Change the color to black, set the opacity to 60. Add the Gaussian blur of 60 and trim it from the left at the same frame as the circle. Place the shadow layer in the precomposition and create a mask. To create coins, you need the Element 3D plugin. Create a black solid and apply this effect to it. After that, click Scene Setup, Import and choose 3D Coin. To make the size right, check Normalize Size. To animate it, check the stopwatch in World Transform next to World Position, X, Y and Z rotation. From 4.15, I'll animate these coins with a slightly delay between them and add the light source from above, changing the light to a warmer color. Just follow along with me. Now we need to animate the circle's appearance. Combine the circle and shadow into one composition. Create a mask and animate its size from 4.05 to 5.20. After all this, we just need to create and animate the text. So create the text with the Playfair display bold font, size 70 pixels and letter spacing at 105%. Trim it from the left at the 6-second mark. Add the typewriter effect to the text. Press U and move the keyframe so the animation happens between 6 and 7 seconds. Join our exclusive video editing community for just $49 per month and get access to courses worth over $1,600. This isn't just learning, it's your path to professional growth. In a fun and supportive environment, you'll improve your skills, take on exciting challenges, and connect with other creative minds. You're not just learning, you're becoming part of a community that inspires and helps you reach new heights. Now we need to create the second part of this animation. To make sure nothing gets in the way, at the 8.10 mark, trim everything on the right except for the textures and the backgrounds. I'll start with the top part. The headline will be slightly to the right of the center, with the Playfair extra bold font, the same color and a size of 60 pixels. Below is the text Arial bold italic font, size 25 pixels and opacity at 50%. Below that are two texts with the same settings, intermediate font with a size of 25. And two small squares on the left side of each word, one orange with the code FFB32F and one blue with the code 5B96FF. Now let's do the bottom part. The text with the year should be in Builder Sans medium font, size 30 pixels and a letter spacing of 40. Place each year slightly below the previous one. We could speed up the process by not creating each line separately, but then managing the lines would be harder. To create these lines, first create one blue line and move the anchor point to the far left of the line. Then go to the scale parameter and unlink it, set the keyframe at the start and at the 10-second mark. At the start, make the left scale value 0, and in the graph editor, create this curve. Now duplicate the line and place it next to each year with a 2 frames gap. Starting from 2001, duplicate the line, change the color to orange, and adjust the scale so that each line is bigger than the previous one. Now create separate compositions for the orange and blue parts. For the percentages at the bottom, copy the text from the years and place 0% on the left and 100% on the right. From 10.20 to 11.10, create a composition with the blue sections from 100% to 30%. To make the numbers not appear at the same second, do it with an interval of 2 frames, simply cutting off the beginning of each layer. The final step in this animation will be creating the low FPS effects. For this effect, you need to create an adjustment layer and add the posterize time effects. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe so you don't miss more content like this. Don't forget to join our community and progress in video editing together. Fave is the most relevant and popular editing style used by literally every content creator. It's what grabs your attention and the attention of others, keeping them glued to the screen for hours. I'm a video editor with over 8 years of experience, and in this video, I'll explain what Fave is, how it became the foundation for successful social media videos, and how this style affects how viewers perceive content. We'll also talk about how you can replicate the style in your videos to get more views. Fave or fast actions for viewer engagement. The essence of this style is holding the viewer's attention with quick cuts and motion graphics that clearly convey the speaker's message. Changing the scene, angle, transition, or appropriate effect will always improve your video and make it more interesting. It's not just video editing like before. Creating such videos has become an art form, because simple video cuts are no longer enough. If a video lacks dynamics and tension, viewers will quickly lose interest and your video will become irrelevant. That's why maintaining dynamics and pacing a video has become essential. Why is this style so popular? One reason is the influence of social media. On platforms like Instagram and TikTok, videos have become shorter and viewer attention fades even faster. If you don't grab their attention within the first few seconds, they'll just leave. With longer videos, it works a bit differently. Viewers are willing to spend more time to get interested, but you have just 30 seconds for that. If you can explain what the video is about in 10 seconds, do it in 10. Don't stretch your intro to 30 seconds. Fave is the style that makes videos faster, more intense, more gripping, and more time-consuming to create. But trust me, if you do it right, which isn't as easy as it sounds, the time spent on creating such videos is worth it. Why does Fave work? First, it uses well-known psychology tricks. We love dynamic moments, we follow fast changes, and our brain just can't resist such videos. When constant changes happen, it activates our attention span. Second, such videos often make viewers want more. Thanks to dynamics and transitions, people start expecting the new thing, something bigger and more extreme, not allowing themselves to detach from the video. This is the magic effect of Fave. That's why many are drawn to scroll through Reels. It's so interesting to learn something new and at the same time quickly. But what you quickly learn, you also forget just as fast in the flow of new information. If you look at successful YouTubers like Kim and Gaji, you'll notice that this style helps them keep their audience engaged throughout the video. You can also watch his videos and you'll understand why this style is so captivating. Quick and easy actions, sharp changes, and visual effects, these are all elements that make content not just informative, but emotionally rich. How does Fave affect content perception? This editing style changes our viewing experience. Why? Everything becomes faster and more intense. We just started watching videos without thinking much about their meaning. So in 2024, what you say doesn't matter as much as how you say it and present the information. Fast content gets more views simply because it's easier to watch. But to make such a video, you'll need to spend tens or even hundreds of hours. How to replicate the style. I'll only tell you the things you really need, so listen me out. To create such videos, you can do without editing knowledge and After Effects. To master the style in a couple of weeks and create beautiful, dynamic animations, my After Effects course will help you. In it, I'll teach you all the essential things you can apply today. Just start with the demo version to see how it works. To hold attention, you'll need useful materials to enhance your video's appeal. A pack of sound effects and music, overlays, icons, projects, and much more you can purchase today on my website. And if you enter the coupon code FAVE40 at checkout, you'll get a 40% on all products. But if you are one of those who likes to progress in a community of people who are into video editing and also get access to all courses and materials, join the closed community. You'll be able to chat with other members and with me personally to get help with your questions. Links in the description. Subscribe if you wanna learn about the popular style in 2025. Also leave a like and write a comment with your opinion about this style. Thanks for watching and see you soon. I know how important speed is for your workflow, so in this video I'll show you how to speed up your video creation process in After Effects with 5 simple steps. Watch until the end because at any point in the video I'll share a bonus step that will completely change the way you work in After Effects. You can't even imagine how much you can speed up your work in After Effects just by spending a few hours learning hotkeys. If you don't know what Ctrl-D, Ctrl-Shift-D, Ctrl-X, Ctrl-Shift-X, Ctrl-Shift-C, Ctrl-Y, Ctrl-Alt-Y, and many other hotkeys are, then you need to learn them. This is the first step to saving hundreds of hours instead of searching for actions or pressing a million buttons to get things done. The same goes for tools. If you don't know that rotation is on W or the pen tool is on G, you should learn those keys to save a couple of seconds instead of aiming for the icon with your cursor. It might seem like choosing a tool doesn't take much time, but finding something in your project can take forever. Every file should be properly named so you can find it easily both in your project and in your file explorer. To edit video quickly, you need fast access to the files you need. If you name them in a way you don't remember, you'll waste time you could be saved. You also need to create folders to organize your files, not just in your project but also on your computer. You can't even imagine how much time you'll save in the future just by naming files or creating folders for certain categories. I've been doing this for over a year and I don't regret it at all. I do the same with my packs to easily find sounds or emojis for my videos. You can find my packs on my website and quickly search for what you need. I've talked about AEJuice on my channel before, but I have to mention it again in this video about time optimization. This plugin can do almost everything and helps you quickly find beautiful animations or popular effects for your videos. You can find explosions, lightning, and even human anatomy. If you are working more in Premiere Pro, you can still download AEJuice and use it, because it works with After Effects, DaVinci Resolve, Final Cut, Premiere Pro, and several other programs. You can use both free and paid versions of the plugin, but thanks to Black Friday, you can get all the packs worth over $16,000 for free for the first month using my link in the description. The first step might seem obvious, but listen me out. Creating presets is super important to speed up your workflow. If you need the same effect from project to project with the same settings, and you've noticed you have several of these, you definitely need to create presets for yourself. Usually, I don't recommend using them because in unskilled hands, any preset can look bad and out of place. For example, color correction presets are often unnecessary because every video and client needs a different style and approach to color grading. If you often work with the client and he always has the same lighting and settings, you can create a color grading preset. I made a preset for lumetri color because my video don't have anything that could mess up the preset. Before, I had noise in my color correction which ruined the screen effect, so I just removed it from the preset. But that's not all. You may also need a project template. For example, if you create a great animation or just want to remember something you did in a previous project, you should create that project or save it for later. When you need it again, just add it to your new project and use it. But remember, you need to keep the source files in folders and not delete them. To learn something new, you can check out my projects from this channel where you can discover new techniques. You can find them on my website. Expressions are the fifth step to speeding up your workflow. With them, you can create effects like number scaling, or instead of copying and pasting the same animation throughout your video, you can loop it with this expression, so it repeats throughout the video. This will save you a lot of time and effort. There are many expressions like this, but I won't list them all. If I need to do something in the easiest way possible, I definitely use them. Don't be lazy to find a few that will speed up your work and save time on tasks that expressions can handle. As I mentioned earlier, here's the bonus tip that will definitely speed up your workflow and learning time in After Effects. Since I hate wasting hours on things I can explain in minutes, I'm ready to save you timing in learning After Effects. In just 20 minutes, I'll give you all the info you need to start practicing. Don't waste hours on unnecessary theory, act faster than ever. If you need helpful materials for your work, you can find some on my website. My packs will definitely save you a lot of time looking for the right materials. And if you need a community of video editors where you can get all my courses and materials, Render Zone is the place for you. There you can book a call with me once a week and ask me anything about editing and After Effects anytime via DM. I hope you're using or will start using these steps to save time and get more done in less time. Hit like and subscribe to learn more about video editing and After Effects. Thanks for watching and see you soon. I've been editing in After Effects for almost 5 years, so I decided to share my journey in this program with you. I'll talk about how I started, the mistakes I made, and the lessons I learned along the way. Let me start from the very beginning of my After Effects journey. My first experience with the program probably started just like many others. Some started with AMW, others with Valorant edits or football highlights. But for me, it was different. It was the spring of 2020. I loved watching CSGO edits, and after I saw my first tutorial on CSGO editing, I decided to give it a try. In this video, I'll share my work in chronological order, starting from what I did at the very beginning to what I'm doing now, so you can get a better idea of my growth. At first, I just added a few layers for depth of field and color correction. Then, week after week, I just added more details and learned a lot about plugins and animations through graphs. Creating edits was quickly at first, and a 30-second video would take me no more than 10 hours. But everything changed after one edit. I decided to push myself and make something really impressive and complex. As a result, I spent 80 hours on 2-minute edit, but it was worth it. The community appreciated it and it got noticed. After that, I started to spending a lot of time on each project, thanks to which I learned a lot more about working in After Effects. I learned the tiniest details to make things as high quality as possible. But there was one thing I overlooked. I wasn't thinking about work speed. I was willing to spend from 100 to 150 hours on one video, not realizing there were ways to speed up the process. But I'll talk more about that later. I first noticed real progress after several hundreds hours of working in After Effects. Again, I'll repeat it. I only noticed progress after hundreds of hours. At first, I just found my style and stuck with it. I tried a few new things, but mostly within the CSGO theme. I made a lot of efforts, did tons of tricking, and thought a lot about what else I could add, but I didn't really try to improve my skills or do something new. One thing I'm sure of is that once I started participating in contests where you had to make edits in a short amount of time, I started working faster and found ways to speed up my process. The turning point was when I bought an RTX 3060, which allowed me to slightly change my direction and add 3D elements to my CSGO edits. It was amazing. I remember my first streams where I was figuring this out. I would load my replays into Blender, then export them to Unreal Engine 5, setting up materials for each model separately. I gained valuable experience working with 3D, and I loved it. In 2022, I started modeling in Blender, which I already mentioned in my Blender video. I ended up making around 10 3D edits, and I even had a collaboration where we created a beautiful edit together. I'm still proud of it, even though it's been a while. My last CSGO edit was on January 20 in 2024, and after that I completely moved on from CSGO editing. On December 12, I started the RenderQ channel and uploaded my first video about After Effects. Over a year ago, I created this channel to share my experience with others and save them time by explaining things briefly. I decided that this would be my unique way of standing out. I hope you appreciate that I don't waste 20 minutes of your time, but explain everything in 2 minutes. I started the channel poorly. I had no experience with sound. I did never make such videos before, and I wasn't used to editing faceless videos with just voiceover. That was a difficult phase. Since English is not my native language or a second one, it was really hard. I started from scratch and grew to the point where the quality of my content, which you can see in recent months, has significantly improved. The sound got better and presentation improved. I've already gone through this journey, starting with slow-paced content, moving to faster edits, then slowing down again. And all of that happened in just 1 year. It's incredible. I've helped hundreds of people, and even more who haven't left comments but are still thankful. Thank you all, your comments keep me going. If you are interested in how I edit and my story of developing my style, you can find it on my website. You can buy my course and learn a lot. With each new video, I tried new approaches, tweaking my style. On this new path, I corrected my mistakes and searched for something new. I worked on being creative and coming out with interesting video topics. My videos barely got any views at first, and that was really discouraging. But if I stopped, you wouldn't be watching this video now. I remember my first comments. It was so nice to read and realize that someone had watched my video, appreciated my work, and left a supportive comment. After one of my videos hit 200 views, which was huge for me, several people commented saying that my channel was gonna blow up soon. I believed them and kept improving my videos. And then the moment arrived. I went to bed on April 30th with no expectations, thinking my video wouldn't get many views. But when I woke up on May 1st and checked my YouTube studio, I couldn't believe my eyes. My video had over 400 views overnight. It was the one where I shared my After Effects experience after 4,000 hours of work. And just a day or two later, I posted another video about how to progress faster and learn After Effects in 30 days. And it also started getting views. Just a few days ago, I had nothing, and now I have hundreds of subscribers, thousands of views, and tons of positive comments saying that I'm an underrated content creator. Was I happy? Of course. That was one of the happiest days of my life. I couldn't believe I had made it. In the end, these videos get around 50,000 views and are still some of the most popular on my channel. It gave me such a huge boost in creating content, and I haven't stopped since. From giving learning small tips and creating short videos, I've moved on to making long animation guides. But I stopped doing that when I realized my goal is to help people find their own style, not copy others, but get inspired by them. Recently, I've realized that I want to share more personal experiences, where I touched on my past a bit. And in my last video, I decided to be even more open and started recording with my face. I hope you appreciate that. In the future, I plan to share even more of my experiences. There is a lot I haven't shared on YouTube. There are things I can't just give away. So if you wanna learn something new and get advice and help, join my community. There you can get all the courses and stuff I share exclusively with you. If you wanna learn video editing and After Effects on your own, or speed up and improve your work, head over to my website, where you can find a lot of useful materials. And if you wanna start right now to make huge progress in 2025, use my coupon code NEWYEAR50, which will give you a 50% discount on all products. You can add everything you wanna your cart and apply the coupon to all of them. Links are in the description. Lastly, I wanna remind you that you should always be learning something new. Watch a lot of content and most importantly, practice. Apply all your knowledge in practice and take action to gain experience. Only by doing your own projects can you truly absorb what you learn. You'll also discover new things and come up with your own ideas. You'll definitely make progress if you start using the tips from my videos and courses. Thanks for watching and see you soon. I'm sure you have noticed this, but every video you enjoy has tons of subtle details that influence how you perceive it. I'm a video editor with lots of experience, and in this video, I'm diving into those hidden details that make any video better. I'll show you why some videos get tons of views or have the potential to, while others are just unwatchable. What do you know about editing? I bet you either said you know a lot, or started listing some specific editing features in your head. And that's fine. The main goal of editing is to turn separate ideas into a structured video that triggers emotions and delivers value. For one person, it's information that gives clear understanding. For someone else, it's a positive emotions. Now, here's the question for you. What makes an edit good or bad? Don't worry about answering, because I'm not gonna either. Instead, I'll show you two examples, and you can decide for yourself which one is better. I'm sure you have noticed this, but every video you enjoy has tons of subtle details that influence how you perceive it. I'm sure you have noticed this, but every video you enjoy has tons of subtle details that influence how you perceive it. I hope you chose the second one as the better edit. But why is that? The footage is the same. Video editing isn't just about cutting clips. It's also about working with audio. Right now, I'm speaking, but you can see me. It probably feels a bit weird because you can hear me clearly but don't see anything. Now imagine you can see me, but the quality is bad. Even so, you'd likely still be okay, because the audio makes up for it. Let's flip it. Now, the video quality is great, but the sound is terrible. You might tolerate it, or you might just turn the video off. This demonstrates a critical point. Editing doesn't stop at cutting clips. Harsh or unclear sounds ruin the experience. Learn to work with audio, and don't let bad sound mess up your videos. As you've seen, good editing is all about the little things you might not even notice, but every video contributes to the positive impression a video leaves. The next detail is to look into your video editing program. For example, After Effects, and in this case, I have an After Effects course where I'll explain all the essential stuff in an engaging, no-fluff way. You can also study my past projects. This helps people understand the finer details of editing. One person even reached out to request an exclusive project not listed on my site. You can do the same and access exclusive info. If you are into video editing, check out my site. There's a ton of useful stuff there, and I'm sure you'll find something you like. Links are in the description. Do you know what video editors love hearing most? You edited this video so well. These words are rare because people don't see the hard work editors put in. Viewers get the finished product and enjoy it. But what makes it enjoyable is good editing. Basic editing goes unnoticed and doesn't feel extraordinary. But as I've shown, even at the basic level, things can go wrong. People might tell you an edit is bad. They won't praise a basic edit as good. Without a comparison, it's hard for them to judge, especially when decent editing has become the norm. Since I already talked about sounds and its importance, let's move on to the visual, but not only, side of the matter. Here's my top list of editing mistakes. Bad cutting. Leaving extra frames before someone starts talking destroys the pacing and ruins the viewing experience. Misplaced music. Music needs to match the emotion you want viewers hours to fill. It's a small detail, but one you can ignore. Also, keep the volume balanced about 20 decibels lower than the speaker's voice. This is the universal advice I can give you. Weird sound. Random sounds ruin videos instead of enhancing them. You need to process and tweak sounds. Slow them down, lower their volume, or skip them entirely. This takes practice, but it's worth it. Good sound effects immerse viewers and elevate videos. If finding good sounds or music is hard for you, to get a sound pack on my site that can help. Link in the description. Transitions. Don't use transitions that look bad. Let me show you. This one is bad, it's slow and distorts the clip. This one is good, it's subtle but doesn't the job perfectly. Color grading. Work on your video's colors. Make it look appealing, not too bright or oversaturated. Find your unique style and stick to it. To help you fully understand why editing is an invisible art, I'll show you 2 examples of bad and good editing. I'm sure you have noticed this, but every video you enjoy has tons of subtle details that influence how you perceive it. I'm a video editor with loads of experience, and in this video, I'm diving into those hidden details that make any video better. I'm sure you have noticed this, but every video you enjoy has tons of subtle details that influence how you perceive it. I'm a video editor with loads of experience, and in this video, I'm diving into those hidden details that make any video better. As you can see, there are many differences. Let's play a game. Spot the differences and write them in the comments. Whoever names them all first gets a prize from me. My goal in this video is to show you how to edit great videos. The main takeaway: focus on every little detail I've mentioned. If you closely analyze the final example, you'll notice the tiniest details that make it better. Here's my advice. Pay more attention to the videos you watch. Spot the small details and note how they affect your perception. Next, put what you've observed into practice in your own editing. It's not hard if you make it part of your process and keep it fun. Set yourself a test. For example, master sound effects. Find source material and sound and carefully match them to your video. This builds your sense of compatibility between visuals and audio. Don't settle for one sound. Try multiple options. Slow them down or speed them up. This will help you discover the perfect fit for any moment in your video. These are the little things I'm talking about. It's like a game to find what works perfectly for specific moments. You'll enjoy it once you start. Thanks for watching. I hope you now see the importance of every little detail. People may not notice them, but you will definitely be glad that you did it. Hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed this and want to learn more about video editing and After Effects. Good luck with your editing and see you soon.